NBA and the Indiana Fever did not want people to know that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for the season. I can tell you, from the very day that they decided to let that go public, everything has dropped off a cliff.
What if I told you the entire WNBA, a league valued in the billions, is teetering on the edge of collapse, all because one player is sidelined? What if I told you the league is now scrambling, making desperate, almost comical moves to hide this uncomfortable truth from millions of fans? This isn't just about basketball. It's about an empire built on sand and the tide just went out. The WNBA has officially reached peak comedy. One moment we saw packed arenas, ESPN screaming about record-breaking viewership, and fans crossing states just to catch a game. The next, ghost town arenas, half-hearted claps, and TV ratings so low they look more like late-night infomercials than professional sports. The interest didn't just drop, it fell off a cliff, and the league wants us to believe everything's fine. Think again.
People were trying to hang on to the possibility this whole time. Look, so many people stayed engaged with the team because they thought the cavalry was coming. She's coming back. We're going to have a fighting chance to win the WNBA championship. The Indiana Fever and the WNBA, they knew this.
Now, in a move so absurd, it's almost genius. The Indiana Fever are being forced to play in Atlanta. Seriously? Atlanta? The league's grand solution to plummeting interest is to just change the venue. This isn't problem solving. It's panic dialing. They think moving a team to a different city will magically make fans forget why they were there in the first place. It's a transparent, desperate move that screams one thing: we have no idea what else to do. Let's rewind. Just a few weeks ago, the WNBA held a golden ticket. ESPN plastered her all over their coverage. Every game she played pulled in numbers the league hadn't seen in decades. Millions of viewers, social media buzzing, highlight clips going viral. The Fever weren't just a team, they were the team. Every road game felt like a home game because fans showed up for one person. But here's the dirt. The WNBA and the Fever's front office knew this wouldn't last. They sat on it, dangled false hope, letting fans believe she might return for a playoff push. Why? Because they knew the moment the truth came out, the entire bubble would burst. And guess what? It detonated.
People felt like they were going to games thinking this team would have Caitlin Clark coming back to make a championship run. I mean, the perfect example, the game in Baltimore the other day with the Mystics. Nearly 3,000 fans decided not to show up, and they paid for the ticket.
Look at Baltimore. Nearly 3,000 ticket-holding fans, people who already paid, just didn't show up. Think about that for a second. They had seats, paid good money, and still said, nah, not worth it. That's not just disinterest, that's a slap in the face. Fans thought they were signing up for a phenomenon, a game changer. Instead, they got WNBA light, and no refund policy in sight. It's a bait and switch, pure and simple, and the public is furious. The league is still trying to pretend everything's fine, trotting out these cherry-picked numbers about year-over-year growth and highest average viewership in decades. But let's expose the full truth. Those massive spikes? She was playing. Those viral highlights? She was the one hitting logo threes and dropping dimes. Without her, you're left with a 90,000 viewer snooze fest between teams. Nobody outside their own zip code cares about. One of the league's hyped matchups drew less than 100,000 viewers. That's YouTube influencer territory. Heck, some high school state championship games pull better numbers, and yet the league wants to parade around as if the sky isn't falling. Spoiler alert, the sky is absolutely collapsing.
But before Caitlin Clark's season-ending injury, WNBA tickets were averaging $89. The moment she went down, price crashed nearly 30%, plummeting to $62 a seat. That's kind of crazy. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but obviously the biggest reason is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark literally being out, and again, she's only on one team, but a very big chunk of the total attendance in WNBA is from the Indiana Fever.
This is Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's worst nightmare. She bet the house on the idea that the WNBA could expand beyond one player. Except now it's painfully clear that one player is the entire league. Without her, the WNBA isn't trending, isn't buzzing, isn't even in casual conversation. And here comes the most laughable part. Moving Indiana Fever games to Atlanta. Oh yes, because nothing screams we believe in the strength of our league like uprooting a team to squeeze out extra ticket sales in a different market. Do they think Atlanta fans are just going to magically care about Indiana without her? Are they handing out free hot dogs with each seat? This math doesn't add up.
Moving arenas. So yeah, a lot of teams, whether it be the Lynx opening the Upper Bowl, whether it be the Wings, the Dream, the Sky, all of these teams moving games. All of these teams are moving games for the Indiana Fever, regardless of who it is. They all have to sell those seats. And a lot of people don't want to go, and it's super cheap. Like, it's a lot easier to fill a 10,000 seat arena without Caitlin Clark than to fill 20,000. So you're going to have to find a way to do it anyway, which is what a lot of people are going to be doing, trying to sell tickets. The seats for the playoffs, I would say the Indiana Fever playoff seats would have been, honestly, like nearly $1,000 in. I actually think had Caitlin Clark been playing, it would be nearly $1,000 into this game.
You know who really feels this shift? The players. Don't think they haven't noticed the empty arenas, the sudden silence online, or the fact that ESPN doesn't blast their highlights the same way anymore. Angel Reese, for example, is reportedly sulking, half playing, half checking out. Teams are throwing shade, but deep down they know their checks look bigger because she exists. Without her, those checks shrink, just like the crowds. When she was on the court, every possession felt bigger. Every foul call got boos or cheers like it was a playoff game. Now you can hear sneakers squeak louder than the crowd. That's not atmosphere. That's awkward silence. The WNBA has a dependency problem, a massive one. She isn't just another player. She's the oxygen tank. You pull her out, and the room goes quiet. Moving Indiana games to Atlanta won't change that. It's like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Sure, the chairs look different, but the ship is still sinking. What's really wild is how short-sighted this all is. Instead of building sustainable excitement around multiple stars, the league doubled down on her as the lifeline while pretending they didn't. That's how you end up here. A league celebrating all-time high ratings while quietly panicking about half-empty arenas and fans tuning out. Dawn, quote T. Even get me started on the hypocrisy. You've got media outlets lecturing fans that they should care about women's basketball regardless of her. That argument's been tried before. Remember the support women's sports because it's the right thing campaigns? Guilt doesn't sell tickets. Guilt doesn't pull in TV numbers. People want entertainment, not lectures. She brought that. Without her, the product looks flat. It's like being served a Michelin star meal and then being told to eat plain rice because it's good for you. Let's zoom out a bit. Sports leagues rise and fall on stars. That's not new. The NBA had Jordan, then LeBron, then Curry. The NFL had Brady, Mahomes. MLB had Bonds, Jeter. Stars are the currency. But here's the critical difference. Those leagues learned how to market multiple stars at once. When Jordan left, the NBA had Shaq, Kobe, Iverson ready to carry the torch. When Brady slowed down, Mahomes took over. The WNBA, however, put all its chips on her without admitting it. Now, instead of a next man up situation, it's an empty stage. The other stars, despite their undeniable skill, just aren't pulling weight in terms of mainstream attention. That's not a knock on their talent. It's just the harsh reality of market appeal. So here's the million-dollar question. What happens next season if she isn't 100% right away? Do ratings tank again? Do they scramble to move even more games into neutral venues? Or do they finally admit that without her, they're running on fumes? The WNBA had a golden chance. They had a wave of attention, viral moments, ESPN segments, and record-breaking crowds. And instead of laying the foundation for long-term stability, they milked her dry. Now, the second she's unavailable, they're exposed. That's not growth. That's dependency. And fans, they're not sticking around out of pity. If your product only matters when one person is involved, then maybe it's time to admit what it is. A niche league propped up by one transcendent star. That's fine if you embrace it, but pretending otherwise is insulting. This Atlanta experiment will be the ultimate proof. If those games flop in attendance and ratings, the league has nowhere to hide. If they somehow scrape together a sellout, it'll be through freebies, not genuine demand. Either way, the desperation is showing. And honestly, the sarcasm writes itself. The Women's National Basketball Association has essentially morphed into the Clark National Basketball Association. They can deny it all they want, but the receipts don't lie. Without her, ratings plummet, arenas empty, and ESPN is left recycling old highlights just to keep fans engaged. So yeah, the WNBA can shuffle teams around, spin numbers, and push PR campaigns. But at the end of the day, the truth is loud and clear. Caitlin Clark is the sun, and without her, this league is in the dark. The WNBA is scrambling, moving Indiana Fever games to Atlanta and hoping nobody notices the ratings collapse without Caitlin Clark. Spoiler alert, we noticed. The panic is real, and the league looks lost without its star.